on in. Go to the conference room. Have a seat.
My name is Grady Moran, and I'm here today with attorney Carl Kilgus. I actually am Mr. Kilgus's paralegal, so I want to find out a little bit about Mr. Kilgus and what he does, and just talk a little bit about his practice. So, Carl, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney since 1999. I began practicing law in Rhode Island and moved the family to Ohio in 2007, 2008, and I've been practicing here since that time.
And what areas of law do you practice?
Well, I'm a solo practitioner, so I do quite a few different areas, but primarily most of the work I do is either in divorce, custody settings, or criminal matters, and of course a lot of personal injury work as well.
Right. Oh, you talked a little bit about divorce work. What's the difference between a dissolution and a divorce?
Well, that's a good question, since this YouTube video is to focus on dissolution. They're really the same thing, a divorce and a dissolution. They're just two different ways of getting to the same result. Dissolution is basically the state of Ohio legislature saying, hey, if you guys can agree on everything, we're going to let you do it fast and hopefully inexpensively. So that's where dissolution comes. If somebody contacts me, they say, I'd like to get a dissolution, the first question I ask is, do you both agree on everything? Because that's the key. If you don't agree on everything, it's just not going to work, and you should be looking at a divorce, okay? So that's the first test. You must agree on every issue. Now, there's two issues in any divorce or dissolution normally, and we separate them in the law as dissolutions with children and dissolutions without children. Without children meaning the only issue we're going to have is property, okay? Property is a pretty simple thing to deal with, either in divorce or dissolution. Children, as any parent can agree with, are more difficult, okay, and no matter what you're dealing with, and divorce or dissolution is no different. However, a lot of times parents are able to separate and get divorced, and yet they work well with the children. So if they come to me and they say, we agree, this person's to have custody and this person's to be the visiting parent, or we're going to do a shared parenting, which in Ohio there's no such thing as joint custody, it's called shared parenting. Then if we can agree on all the provisions of that, we can still do a dissolution even though there's children. So either with children or without children.
So if it's a dissolution, are there many court hearings that clients would have to attend, or how does that work?
That's a good question. That's the beauty of dissolution. One court hearing. Divorce, you don't know how many court hearings. There's going to be scheduling conferences, reports, there's going to be settlement issues, there's going to be mediations, there's going to be pre-trials, and trials are often necessary. Wow. Dissolution cuts right to the...
That's a lot of hearings.
It is a lot of hearings, and that's why they're so expensive.
Carl, let's talk a little bit about the do-it-yourself divorce dissolution packet.
Okay. So if you're doing it yourself without an attorney completely, you're going to have to research the local rules. You're going to have to see what they say. You're going to look at the Ohio Revised Code to see what they say is required. And you're going to need some kind of a package. Some courts will supply some documents, but no courts will supply all documents. And I have yet to see a package that supplies all documents. And when I say that, what I mean is you're normally missing two key documents. They're called legal documents, which are a separation agreement, which is a contract, and it says we have this, we divide it this way, and we're all happy with it. If you don't have children, that's all you'll have, and you'll have a decree. A decree is another legal document that's going to be submitted to a court, and that the court is going to sign. So if it doesn't say what the court wants it to say, they're not going to fix it for you. They're simply not going to sign it. And until you put one in front of them that they will sign, you will not be divorced, okay? You can even have your case dismissed if you don't get it there quick enough, and you've wasted your filing fee now. So yes, we've had calls, as you know, from people who have attempted to do it that way.
Many
and
calls.
just couldn't figure it out for one reason or another. So people have called me saying, can you just do the paperwork for me? And we can. We actually can do that. The Supreme Court allows attorneys to represent people for the paperwork only, and it's a much reduced fee. You know, if you don't have any children, we'll do it for $200.
Right.
If you do have children, $300.
So it's just a waste for them to buy this do-it-yourself divorce packet usually online. That's what we found, at least, right?
I wouldn't waste my time with it. No.
That's right. It's just so much easier to hire an attorney to prepare the paperwork for you, and they can go to the hearing because at least you know that all that paperwork is the way it should be.
That's
so
right.
There's no issues.
But you know, these materials are available for the diehard who really wants to do it themselves, and that's fine.
Except the separation agreement and decree.
Well, they're going to have a little trouble with those.
Right, absolutely.
I'll get the call from them. How much for just these two documents? I've had that call too. Well, you know, it'll cost almost the same.
And the truth is we've had people that, wouldn't you say, that come to you and say, hey, I tried to file my divorce, I submitted all these documents, I've spent hours doing it, they keep rejecting it, can you fix it?
That's right, and that happened recently at Butler County, and we really couldn't even work much with the packet that they had put together. We had to just do it all from scratch. So we did.
So, we talked a little bit about fees and such. What are the filing fees? What's the difference between doc prep fees for an attorney and filing fees?
That's a good point. I want to be clear. When we say we'll do docs only for 200 no children and 300 with children, that is for our fee for preparing documents only. Filing fees, when you file documents with the court,
Right.
they want to be paid too.
Right.
So they charge a filing fee, and that fee is not uniform in Ohio. Every county has the right to assess their own filing fees, and you know, we've seen them range from a low of $125 for a dissolution without children, maybe $150 I think it was with children in that county, but as high as $400. So that's determined by the county you live in, and you have to file in the county you live in. So that cost is what it is.
So tell our viewers the turnaround time for getting these documents turned around back to them.
I can get documents, and you know, because you do a lot of it, in 1 or 2 weeks. If it's a rush, it's just got to be done in 3 days, we can probably get it done. But reasonably 1 to 2 weeks, we can have them prepared.
So do you handle all the paperwork for the clients?
Of course. That's what the attorney role is we do the paperwork. And for a dissolution, that's really the big issue. It's the paperwork, okay? Because if we're going to court one time, all we're going to do is put our hands up, swear this is what we want, we're incompatible, we want the divorce, all these documents we sign, we still believe they're accurate, it's the best interest of everybody involved, and if there's children, it's in their best interest, property's divided, no issues, please order a divorce court, and the court will say yes.
So for our viewers, it sounds like you do all the paperwork.
I
They
do.
just provide you the information that you ask, and you just put it all together, and you get the hearing scheduled, and it's done.
That's right. And like I said, the paperwork's the big deal in a dissolution. Now, normally, I'll do the paperwork, file it with the court, get a court date for the hearing, and then we'll all show up. And when we go to court, we'll go on the record, and I'll ask some certain questions, like, do you live in Ohio? Do we have jurisdiction to do the divorce? You know, is your wife pregnant, or are you pregnant? You know, make sure that's not the
So
case.
just basic questions.
Basic questions.
And so the divorce is finalized that day?
Yeah, well, the court orders the divorce. Technically, the decree has to be what's called journalized by the court. That'll take another week, maybe 2 weeks. Once that paperwork is filed, the court files it and stamps it and signs it. Then you divorce, so don't get married before that.
So
Remarried, I mean.
what are the costs? What's the difference between a dissolution and a divorce on cost?
The difference in cost is remarkable. Divorces, you can call attorneys all over the state at will, and I think you're going to find, most of the time, you're going to find they need a retainer. and they're going to go by the hour. So you could give as much as a $2,500 retainer, so you have no idea what it's really going to cost.
Carl, do you offer a free consultation?
Yes, I do. I'm happy to talk to anybody at any time about any issue, for that matter. But specifically, we're talking about dissolution of marriage. Okay, so anybody in Ohio, in any county in Ohio, can call me. All right, and I'm happy to talk about questions. You know, every case is going to be a little different. Not every dissolution is the same.
Right.
And sometimes someone might call me, they're very close in agreeing on everything, and they just need people a little guidance on how to get through that. Also, about if you have any questions about dissolution, is it appropriate for you in your situation? Give me a call. I'm happy to talk to you. I'm not going to say any time. 2 a.m. is not a good time. But either during business hours or even in the early evening hours, I'm happy to discuss with people issues that affect their lives. And this is one of them.
Great.